climate outlook for the year 2020 by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) indicates riverine and flash floods between July and September, when the rain reaches its peak. Flooding is gradually taking center stage across states of the Federation. Our focus on Panorama today is to examine the state of preparedness by states in the South-South coastal zone to tackle the perennial challenge of flooding. Thanks for joining us. I am Jenny Bassi. As of 3rd of June 2020, the total number of COVID-19 confirmed cases stood at 11,166, with 348 new cases, 3,329 discharge cases, and 315 deaths. The 348 new cases are reported from 19 states, which include Lagos 163, FCT 76, Ebonyi 23, Rivers 21, Delta 8, Nasarawa 8, Niger 8, Enugu 6, Bauchi 5, Edo 5, Ekiti 5, Ondo 5, Gombe 5, Benue 4, Ogun 2, Osun 1, Plateau 1, Kogi 1, and Anambra State 1. The Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved a refund of over 148 billion naira to 5 states in the country for the rehabilitation and construction work carried out on federal roads in their areas. Addressing newsmen after the meeting of the Council, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, however, said this will be the last time the Buhari administration will be entertaining such requests from states. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on these and other resolutions of the Council.
Records show that the Buhari administration had already paid 550.3 billion naira as reimbursement to 31 other states for work done on federal roads and bridges. At this virtual meeting, presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, verified claims of the remaining 5 states of Cross River, Ondo, Osun, Bayelsa and Rivers amounting to 148.1 billion naira were considered and approved for payment.
Committee confirmed that the inspected roads and the bridges, that not only were they completed, they are in substantial good form. However, there was a caveat. Henceforth, if any state takes on a federal government road, it will not be paid for. You will not get any refund. And even if you want to pay from your own pocket, you will still need the permission of the federal government. The job will have to be supervised by the Federal Ministry of Works.
The Council also approved 8.1 billion naira for the reactivation and completion of Farinrua Multipurpose Dam project in Nasarawa State.
This is a project that was started in 2003 by the Nasarawa State government. But in 2018, the Nasarawa State government requested that the federal government should take over the completion, and it was graciously approved by Mr. President. It's a multi-purpose dam project that also has potential for water supply, irrigation, and hydropower.
Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika also secured the approval of the Council to award contract for the design of the second runway for the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, at 1.65 billion naira.
What I want to assure the public is that this procurement, the consultancy services, a lot of work had been done. It will be fast track. And it is the intention of the ministry to conclude before the end of the year, so that the balance of money that we have in the budget, we can appoint a contractor and commence the construction of the second runway. And we hope to achieve the second runway, if awarded, before the end of the life of this administration.
For the Minister of Environment, Dr. Mohammed Mahamoud, the council meeting was an opportunity to give account of his actions or inactions so far, in line with the vision of his ministry aimed at taking Nigeria to the next level in harmony with her environment. He said while the commitment to plant 25 million trees across Nigeria this year is on course, work on the Ogoni cleanup exercise covering 57 sites, however, leaves much to be desired.
This is what made me to review the whole Ogoni cleanup project, and we found that it's not going the way it should. The timelines are not being met. So we wrote a memo to Mr. President, which he graciously approved that the Ogoni cleanup project be reinvigorated, restructured, re-energized, and have it work properly so that the timeline will be met.
Similarly, the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, briefed the council members on the giant strides recorded by his ministry so far in effectively maintaining the combat readiness of the Nigerian armed forces towards defending the nation's territorial integrity against both internal and external aggression.
Our shortcomings are now attended to in full force by the Commander-in-Chief, and I'm sure very soon the operational concept or the war against insurgents will certainly change. We have the strength, the weapons and the equipment to end it as soon as possible.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed also used the opportunity to reassure Nigerians that the federal government will not relent until those responsible for the recent cases of rape and murder in parts of the country are brought to justice.
The worst form of injustice is that meted to the most vulnerable, because they are not able to defend themselves. They are not just speaking. We are taking action. And I can assure you, at the end of the day, the police will tell us how far they have gone.
The Federal Executive Council meeting was the 11th in its series for the year 2020 and the third to be held virtually in line with the social distancing protocol aimed at checking the spread of COVID-19 as confirmed cases in Nigeria surpass 10,000. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Others in disaster management have been called to chart the way forward in tackling the 2020 flood prediction for the country by Nigeria Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Danikume Ololo reports.
In 2019, several coastal communities in Rivers State were ravaged and submerged by flood. This situation resulted in many families being forced to relocate from their homes, property and valuables worth millions of naira were destroyed. The early rains in 2020 are indicators of a likely repeat of 2019 flood situation, as some of the areas are already experiencing signs of flooding.
This is the starting of the rain. Maybe by June, July, it will be worse than this.
With the 2020 flood outlook as released by the Nigerian Meteorological and the Nigeria Hydrological Services agencies on high and less risk areas, the National Management Emergency Agency, NEMA, has begun the sensitization of inhabitants in highly probable communities. It has also started mapping out high ground to relocate would be victims in times of emergency.
Like for the hinterlands like Abuja West and other, the local government, the government at that level and the government at the state should put proactive measures in place. Consequences of the flooding would be reduced to the barest minimum.
Government should do the silting of the creeks. There should be enough awareness and proactive measures so that people don't get their houses flooded, lives are not endangered, properties are not lost, and people go through all kinds of anguish. Those things are preventable.
The flood situation in Rivers State is multidimensional, with the challenge of climate change and perennial overflow of east riverbanks due to east coastal line location. Man-made actions have also aggravated the situation with construction of buildings and indiscriminate dumping of refuse on waterways, which hinder free flow of water. Residents are calling for more advocacies and proactive measures such as dredging, desilting of drains, and creation of sandfield settlements to mitigate impact of flooding. In Port Harcourt, Dianukume Ulolo, NTA News.
Thank you, Dianikume. NIMET had predicted that possibilities of heavy rainfall in 2020 may result in flooding in some parts of the country, especially the South-South. And with me in the studio to throw more light on how prepared the agency is towards the prediction is the Zonal Coordinator, National Emergency Management Agency, South-South Zone in charge of Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River States, Mr. Wilson Ibrakumo Brandon. You're welcome to Panorama, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Wilson, it is observed that when it rains in some parts of the country, especially here in the South-South, residents spend more hours on end in traffic, resulting in loss of man-hour. Now, as a professional, how can this be tackled, especially as it affects our health, economy, even in the face of this pandemic?
Yes, what we're expected to do at this time is for all stakeholders to come on board to do the needful. And what I mean by the needful is to make sure that the drainages are cleared, desilted, in readiness for the flood season, which, as you mentioned, is predicted. The prediction by NIMET and Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency is that the flooding for 2020 is going to be of the same scale as that of 2019. Therefore, we in NEMA, we are stepping up preparedness programs. Preparedness programs include sensitization of those areas that are identified by NIMET and NISA. We go to those communities to carry out sensitization programs and then train the stakeholders at that level, community, local government, and then state level in readiness for response. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay, now people, dump refuse in water channels, thereby blocking the drains. Now, how soon do we start seeing actions taken against defaulters of such environmental laws?
Actions have already been taken, but maybe not to the level at which the public wants. What I mean by that is that programs are already put in place now. We are sensitizing now and working with Riwama here in River State, the Ministry of Environment, to make sure those identified areas where refuge is dumped is cleared, totally cleared in readiness for the rains to set in. Because these are the things that causes urban flooding.
Yes.
Those are the things that we are carrying out right now in partnership with the relevant stakeholders, especially for urban flooding, in preparedness for urban flooding.
All right. Yes. Now, in Lagos, you see that to wealth. Do we have such here in South-South? If not, why?
Really, those programs are not identified yet in the South-South zone. But we are trying to step up sensitization too. Very soon, the stakeholders will be invited again for a waste management workshop where experts will be invited to put these programs, start these programs rolling.
Okay.
Waste recycling, waste management, how to manage this plastic waste, and if possible to do has been done in most African countries.
Okay, so what's your last words, at least as we are ready?
The last word is that every stakeholder, especially at the community and local government level, should be ready. Should be ready and get prepared. And emergency management is not only for federal, and come on board.
Thank you, Brandon, for coming on the program. That was the Zonal Coordinator, NEMA South-South Zone in charge of Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River State, Wilson Brandon.
Thank you.
OPEC Secretary General Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barankindo has addressed the 133rd meeting of the Economic Commission Board of the organization, expressing optimism that OPEC will come out of COVID-19 challenges stronger and more focused. Dr. Barinkendo explained that the organization is not out of the woods yet, but expressed confidence that a historic OPEC Plus-led response to the current crisis is already helping to reduce volatility, stabilizing the oil market. This, he said, will also provide the platform for recovery and growth in the coming months and years. OPEC Secretary General noted that member countries have broken a lot of ground throughout the crisis by the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Barinkendo hinted that commitment from independent producers and engagement from G20 and other international bodies have galvanized the need for proactive and coordinated action to stabilize the world's most important energy source. The First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, has condemned in strong terms the gruesome deaths of Nigerian daughters who are mercilessly raped by men who, in some cases, are their fathers, brothers, and protectors. Mrs. Buhari said women are increasingly becoming vulnerable in the society that is expected to guarantee their safety. In a statement, the First Lady said she has started working with wives of the 36 states governors to end gender-based violence in Nigeria. In response to increasing reports of gender-based violence with the slogan, "Leave our daughters alone," Mrs. Buhari called on all stakeholders, especially the Federal Ministry of Women Affairs, as well as labor and security agencies, to expedite actions so that justice takes its course accordingly. We'll now pause for a commercial break. Panorama continues shortly. You're welcome back. One of the major challenges against curtailing the community transmission of COVID-19 in Nigeria is people's non-compliance with laid-down protocols. Many people do not even believe in the existence of the viral disease. It is against this background that Abdullahi Mustafa visited one of the isolation facilities in Kano and puts together the situation reports.
This is the Conrad Dawaki Isolation Center here in Kano, and the state has 4 of such facilities already activated in various parts of the metropolis. But this one has a 21-bed intensive care unit with fully equipped facilities, life-supporting facilities such as ventilators and oxygen concentrators. So we'll go inside and see how the patients or the clients are faring and how the health workers are managing this situation. This is the first time any non-frontline health worker is gaining access into the isolation wards of the facility. This rare opportunity, however, is not without some conditions. Wearing personal protective equipment is necessary, so we had to dress like the health workers. So this is what we are doing. We go inside to see the patients as we are done with this outfit change. Inside the wards are patients at various stages of recovery.
Well, we thank God so far we have been able to demystify the COVID, because we know that when it came, it was believed to be something that if you have it, possibly you're going to die. But we thank God we have been admitting patients and very ill patients, and we have been discharging them.
Anybody that came here, he has a care. They will put pampers, bath that person, give him food, take care of him. Whether you have a relation or you don't have a relation.
This 58-year-old patient has been on admission for more than 3 weeks.
In my own case, I believe I attended a funeral, and I believe that is where I got it. I was very careful, but you know, you can't be too careful in a gathering.
Having gone through this difficult condition, he advised Nigerians to keep themselves away from getting infected.
And make sure that you don't encourage gatherings. People should make sure that they always wear their face mask.
Seeing, they say, is believing, and he who feels it knows it better. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Now Police has resumed duty as the commissioner in charge of Eastern Port Police Command in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. She is Tamuno Miomi Evelyn Peterside. CPC Peterside promised to improve on the security
of community policing at the first headquarters, Abuja. She is in charge of the Port Harcourt, One, Warri, and Calabar ports, which make up the Eastern Zone ports. CP Peterside says she would bring a wealth of experience to bear in the provision of security at the ports and urge officers to exhibit professionalism in the discharge of their duties.
Crime will be brought to its barest minimum so that people can walk and be happy and know that we have rules and regulations and orders to follow. Anything you do that is contrary to what you're supposed to do is illegal. And so I will encourage them to be professional police officers and to do it the way we're supposed to do it.
The outgoing commissioner, Yunusa Oguche, urged the new commissioner to synergize with the community to achieve peace.
Whenever I join the office, I liaise with the community boys. I want them to understand what the community policing is all about. So I also encourage you that you are taking over, please carry them along. And they will be of tremendous help to you.
CP Tamuno Miemi Peterside is a native of Okpobo in Rivers State, has previously served as OC monitoring in the state command. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
Local government administration in Cross River State is alive again after 7 years of inactivity. This follows the swearing in of 18 chairmen and vice chairmen by Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade. Paul Eber reports that the governor advised the newly sworn in to exhibit a high sense of responsibility while meeting the basic needs of the people at the grassroots.
The local government administration is the closest form of governance to the people, and as such, its impact on the lives of the people at the grassroots is of great significance. Hence, effective and result-oriented leadership by the local government chairman and vice chairman, as well as councillors who just received certificates of return, is imperative, as chairman and their vice chairman were sworn into office with a public denunciation of secret cults and related associations and an allegiance to uphold the sanctity of their office. The newly sworn-in chairman and vice chairman were charged to manage success by serving the people in their respective domains and embark on projects with direct bearing on the people. Over 11 billion naira accumulated fund has been saved by the state government as a takeoff for the local government administration.
I need you to deal with the issue of water to the community. I need you to deal with the culverts. Some of these roads, minor bridges that need to build communities together. I need you to deal with such basic things that touch our people.
Some local government chairmen speak on how they intend to deliver on their mandate.
We are not going to joke with this mandate given to us.
The local government elections were conducted on Saturday, 30th May 2020, after 7 years of local government administration inactivity. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.